So you started prepping, you got food, you got water, you got some supplies. You heard the world was going to end. 6 months later, we're all still here. What are you doing? Feeling burnt out? Well, hang on, we're going to talk about that. Greetings and salutations. I'm Gil.
And I'm Gil, and this is Strategic Prepper. All right, so today we're talking about prepping without getting burnt out. This is a big deal, right? So to be a successful prepper, you have to actually prep, right? So this is a marathon, not a sprint. This is a fairly common, I'd say like top 3 thing that I see especially with new people, just across the internet and whatnot. They'll start, hey, I did all this, I did a lot of stuff over the last 6 months, nothing happened, I put a lot of money in, I'm kind of feeling burnt out. And so that's really what we're going to discuss is how do we avoid getting burnt out? How do we make sure we're taking a nice balanced approach?
So the question comes up, what are we doing? Is this a hobby? Is this a clique? Or do, as I suspect most of you viewers and as we believe, that there is a very real trajectory towards destabilization. We do believe that bad things are going to happen and they're going to get worse. So this is not a hobby. But if you just think this is a hobby, oh, I tried it out and I didn't like it, I can see where you might get frustrated. But it's troubling to me because I really do believe that things are going to get bad. And somebody else sees us and they start down the path.
Yep. And
because they start with, they don't have a plan, they don't have a system, they just jump in and they get burnt out and they get discouraged. And the sad thing is, that's a person who saw a potential hazard, potential risk.
Yep.
And because they got burnt out, they're going to end up getting bit in the butt by that.
And it's totally avoidable. That's the thing, it's so avoidable.
Exactly. And you know what? That's really what Strategic Prepper is about. That's why we started this, is because there's so much information out there. And there's a lot of good information.
Yep.
But who puts it all together? I've had so many people ask me and talk to me that this is why they encourage us. We need to do this channel because our systematic approach helps people put it together in a way where you don't get burned out, where it makes sense, where you're not blowing wads of money, not wasting time. But that's what we're about, is to come up with a system. So check out some of our other videos, especially 5 steps to start prepping, and the follow-up, the different levels of prepping. So that's really a foundational stuff. But that's answering the question is about burnout. That was the trigger that got us going. Yeah. Is seeing other people, some of your viewers, thinking about getting burnt out. I remember reading this one gal. I mean, heck, she'd been prepping just a couple of months, and just dumped a bunch of money into her preps, and pretty impressive. She did a bang up job for the short amount of time, limited experience. And then, wow, she quit prepping. And then she came back, and I don't know where she's at. And people just get burned out.
Yeah, and I'll get a real common question with newer people that just talk to my personal life is they see basically all the gear lists and all that, and well, what do I do? How do I get from here to there? Especially if you're limited budget.
Yeah, I got to jump in on that. You remember when we started? Oh my gosh, it was I don't even know what year it was. It was a while ago. So we started out. Dang, birds are making a lot of noise. I love them. They want to get a couple of birds want to get on the video. They're looks like they're it's mating season. But anyway, we went through and did a comprehensive risk analysis and developed a plan. And part of that plan for me was to develop a list of gear that I wanted to buy. And then I risk rank. Well, priority 1 is, hey, this is the first stuff. Priority 2 is I really would like to have it, but not right now. Priority 3 is, when I get to it, I'll get to it. The list had over 200 items on it. It's easy to get burned out.
Yeah, and that's where we talk about the other videos on the risk ranking, and then the 5, or was it the 6, the different levels, right? That's very important. You got to start with doing that, because doing that and understanding the different levels is going to help with what we're going to talk about in this video, right? So
absolutely,
because it's you got to have these goals, right? These attainable goals, right? So you start with, all right, 3 days. What do I need for 3 days? And then you get, all right, 3 weeks, right? And then you're just focusing on what you need to get 3 weeks. So if you're at 3 days, 3 weeks is pretty attainable. And then once you get to 3 weeks, all right, let me get to 3 months. Pretty attainable, right? You don't start from nothing to, well, I need 6 years of stuff.
Well, exactly, but it's just not the stuff. If you look at our system, there's also a gradual progression in the skill of security, for example.
Yep.
The skill of first aid, the skill of maybe gardening. You're building on skills, you're building on supplies, a piece at a time.
Yep, concentric circle. Just a
just
little bit, everything a little bit at a time.
Yeah, you build in this circle, and then you move out to the 3-week circle, and then you move out to the 3-month circle, and you just take it a step at a time.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you look back and it's like, dang, I'm pretty ready.
Yeah, don't worry about getting to the end. I mean, just worry about just getting to that next step.
Yeah, so having a plan.
Yeah, you got to have that plan.
With a good risk assessment, you got to know what your threats are. You can't have a plan without knowing what your risks are and what your vision and what basically how do you want to mitigate those risks. What's the end game for you? It's not the same for everybody,
Yeah. And it's okay. You might, as the years go on, you might reassess things and have a different
reassess.
Yeah, well,
you should.
Yeah, I mean, you will reassess them. You may change some of these goals. Things in your life might differ. Maybe your views change, and that's okay. So don't be worried about, well, I started with this goal and I have to stick to this goal. No, you do an assessment. Things might change, and you might say, okay, this, item A might be at a lower risk now than I thought, and item B, and that's totally normal.
Yeah, I mean, it's as you learn the skills, and you're going to have a deeper understanding of the art of prepping, you're going to make adjustments. Your life situation may change. I just put a down payment on a property, and guess what runs through it? A little stream. So something that was at very low rank on my list of items, a little hydroelectric generator, boom, guess what? Moves up because I got water. That's it. Awesome. Life changed. My list changed. That's healthy. Don't get too rigid on that. Who was it? General Marshall, I think, World War II Chief of Staff of the Army, I think. I think it was him. So if I get this wrong, please leave a comment, correct me on who made this quote. But he says, the plan is everything. No, I'm sorry.
Right. To plan is everything.
So he says, to plan is everything. The plan is nothing.
Yep.
The process of planning is so important.
Yep.
But you have to be willing to adjust it.
Yeah, understanding how to do that that's what's going to set you apart from other people.
Yeah.
Is the system, having these systems, plans.
It starts with a risk assessment.
Yep.
And then you understand, I'm not trying to solve the world's problems. I'm just trying to get to 3 days of readiness, 3 weeks of readiness. That's all. I'm just trying to get to 3 weeks.
You're just working on the next goal, just to the next goal, just to the next goal.
Okay, security means maybe a pistol. Okay, I don't have to worry about this arsenal. These guys have great arsenals. Some of these guys really have awesome arsenals, don't they? I mean, some of these guys, I love those guys at Tactical Rifle.
Tactical Rifleman, yeah. Oh,
those guys are just phenomenal. All right. You want to know about the deep side of tactical? Go to one of their classes. You're gonna love it. Free advertisement, guys. Remember me.
But even with that, I remember early on doing the math in my head to figure out where I wanted to be and how much that would cost. Oh my gosh! But
it could be overwhelming.
Yeah, if you've got nothing, let's say you got nothing. Man, you start out with a affordable pistol, a couple boxes of ammo. It'll come with a couple magazines. You go on, there's some $50 basic safety courses. Boom, you just made it to the next level, right? Yep. And then you solidify that. Go to the range for a few times, right? And all right, I got basic skill, and then you just and we'll have other videos on that topic particularly, but you just start there, and then you work on other things. First aid, you get a CPR first aid class
on the pistols. My first pistol was functional, and I'm not going to mention the name of it. but it was a .380 caliber. I have since become an unfan. I'm not a fan of the .380 caliber, but that was my first. It was very affordable. It was functional. As I learned more about the different pistols out there, I upgraded. Now that's a backup to my backup somewhere.
Yep.
And,
yeah, I started out the same thing, one pistol.
And you learn and you grow.
Yep.
But the plan is you just start at one level and be okay with that.
Yep.
So the next thing, pace yourself.
Yeah. So this is like one of the top 1 or 2 questions I get. So last year, especially with COVID, for example, I had some people that I was guiding through this process, and they were really tight on money. I've been there, so I told them to do what I started. So when I started, you know, I worked on aircraft. I made $15 an hour. Right, lived on my own. Money was real tight. So to get my food and water, what I did was I did groceries every Friday or Saturday, right? And I bought what I needed for the next week. I'd buy 1 or 2 cans of food. Right, we're talking $1, $1.50 a can. My budget can absorb a couple dollars a week. Okay. And so I would do a couple weeks, I might buy 2 cans, and I would change it up, right? Be a couple cans of vegetables, fruit, different, those little meals, right, in the can. And of course, I always made sure I bought stuff that I like eating. And then, all right, a few weeks of that, let me go buy a case of water, right? It's roughly all the same price. And I would do that, we're talking a few dollars a week, right? And I would do that, and before you knew it, all right, I had a few weeks worth of food. When I started making more money, I changed it up, and I said, all right, I got paid twice a month, every month, or every paycheck, $100. That's what I'm spending. That's what I spend, $100. And I would go through my plan, like we were talking about, the concentric circles, and so depending on what category I was trying to buy or classes I was taking or whatever, I would stick to that $100. So it also would mean that sometimes instead of making 2 purchases a month, I would only make 1, because I was, I'd save the 100 and wait till next time. All right, and I got 200. I got a more expensive piece of gear. I might take a class. The other thing to consider as you're doing this, let's say money's really tight. All right, I'm spending $10 a week. As you're doing that, so go through your plan, work your plan, right? Plan the work the plan. For you guys in construction and whatnot, you probably heard that a lot, right? There's a lot of free knowledge out there. So go on YouTube, learn how to make certain knots. There's a lot of good trauma first aid videos on YouTube that are free. Go learn free skills.
I was about to go there. Yeah, first aid. You don't have to take an EMT course.
Mm-hmm.
It may be on your plan to take an EMT course. It's on one of Survival Medicine is one of our recommended books, top 10 books in a previous video. It's good to know this stuff, but if you're beginning, take a free YouTube video.
Yeah, there's a lot of good YouTube videos.
Yeah, there's.
Hey, go to your company and say, hey, go to your manager at your company and ask them if they'll put on a CPR first aid course. Some companies will do that. Boom, you sign up for it and you get a CPR first aid, certification.
Or you volunteer. I want to be the guy to respond.
Yeah.
My last company, we trained people 40 hours first responder level. And if you're in a company like that, boom, hey, I want to volunteer. Let me take the free 40 hours, free to you, company pays. But look for opportunities to take advantage of that. But you want to pace yourself.
Yep.
You don't have to solve all of your challenges. You don't have to overcome everything right away. Just because it's on the plan, it may be several years before you get to it.
Yeah. Figure out what you're and remember too, start with the everyday stuff, right? So
absolutely.
Do you know how to change a tire? Is your spare tire, does it even have air? Do you have jumper cables, right? So you start with like basic level stuff. So as you're trying to buy these things, for example, that's another thing. Go on YouTube, how to change a tire, how to change my oil, right? If you don't know how to do these things. There's a lot of free knowledge. So no matter what your budget is, there's a lot of free things you could do simultaneously.
On the flip side of this, we're talking about taking these steps to incrementally build your skills, build your knowledge, build your supplies. You also want to make sure you take time for life.
Yeah.
Some people are so focused either on prepping in general or on a single scenario. I was reading on the internet and listening on the internet a number of people that thought that this election was going to lead to civil war, and they basically just jumped in with both feet, and they prepared their whole life. And in January, when the new president got sworn in, and there wasn't a civil war, and they were really lost. And it's just a lack of balance. People are so focused on either this scenario or, like I said, prepping in general. I saw it in Y2K. A number of people just sold everything, went to the woods. Guess what? The world didn't end. The world didn't shut down. Take time for the most likely occurrence, and that is normalcy.
Yeah. No, you still got to prepare for normal life, right? So don't abuse your savings. Make sure you contribute to your 401k, stuff like that. But
kids might have to go to college or tech school or whatever, and
you know,
still got to save for that.
Yeah, if you want to go out, let's say you want to do things, right? So yeah, don't dedicate your whole life to preparedness. Go out to dinner sometimes. Go do fun things.
Great example. I mean, you've been committed to prepping and building your skills and your knowledge for years, but you got married, and you and your wife had this dream. I mean, you were born in Japan, but she had this dream of going to Japan. You had this dream of returning, and I mean, how does that really fit in with prepping? You know, it really doesn't.
No,
it doesn't. But it fits in with life.
Yeah, that's something we've been talking about doing for probably 5 or 6 years at that point. I've been saving money, and I've been preparing, but there's things I was doing to line up my finances, right? And we had this window open up in 2019. Thank goodness, because it was the end of 2019, and we all know what happened in 2020. But yeah, we had this opportunity. Window opened up. We had the time, the money, everything, and when we had to sit down and have the decision. Right, we're about to spend these. It's going to cost a few $1,000s. And that was a decision. You know what? This is something we've always wanted to do. We have this shot. We're going to take it. And yeah, so it's okay to do things like that and live your life.
Enjoy the richness of life.
Yeah.
That's why we're prepping to try to protect what we have. We don't want to become hermits, outcasts, or whatever. Enjoy life.
Yeah, and especially if you do believe things are going to get rough. Listen, if you've got something like that, right, where it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime deal, if you've got a chance to do it, you're going to be, right, as long as you're not being reckless in other areas of your life, when things do go downhill, you're going to be glad you took those opportunities to make those memories and have those experiences that you may not have a chance to do again. So that's okay to do that. Don't feel like you're being lazy or you're not doing what you're supposed to do. That's a healthy thing to do.
And sometimes you can combine this.
Mm-hmm.
If you got kids, go camping, go in a backpack, teach the kids the skills. I mean, gosh, we went camping quite a bit when you were a kid.
Go to Grand Canyon. I mean,
We had fun. We went to the Grand Canyon and we went camping.
Mount Rushmore.
And guess who always got to start the fires? Somebody learned fire starting skills. Almost burnt the backyard down once, but it's about learning skills, having life, enjoying life.
That's why we talk about this balanced approach. I got this budget for prepping. I'm maintaining that. It is okay to do other things you like, right? I'm looking at towards the end of this year, I may do parachuting class. It's a military style static line parachuting class. There's not that many. I've always thought it'd be cool to do skydiving and whatnot, and there's this opportunity to do this.
Let's come back to that.
Okay.
All right, so we're talking about taking time for life. On the flip side, how many flip sides do we have? On another flip side.
Yeah, it's not a coin. This is like a
die.
Those octagon, like those multi-sided dies.
Yeah, this is like a 20-sided dice for you gamers.
On the flip side, there's a lot of flips.
There's a flip side. Don't go into debt for this.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Now, I'm going to say this. There may be a time where things are so obvious that going into debt makes sense. It's possible that the world could be collapsing around you. All right. The reality is, from what I read and what I see, people think we're there, and we're not even close to there. I mean, by close, I mean I'm talking the general conditions in life right now. Timeline, I think it's going to be closer than we think, but this is not a time. This is the time to get out of debt.
Yeah. To
get free. Debt is slavery.
Yeah, and if you had watched one of our other videos where we talked about what we think is the near future threats and whatnot, yeah, getting out of debt's extremely important. You don't want stuff tying you down.
No. That's a great video if you've got the courage to watch it. So if you don't have the courage, don't watch it. But if you do, you've got a resolve of stomach and
Intestinal fortitude.
Intestinal. That's what I'm looking. If you got intestinal fortitude, go ahead and watch it. But I don't want to hear comments. You shouldn't have told us that. That's too scary. It's amazing when I talk about what I see in the future. Some people get panicky. So watch that video if you've got the intestinal fortitude to watch it. Otherwise, don't. So anyway, that was a little aside on the video.
But yeah, don't your standard operating procedure, right? Your general order. Don't. Yeah, generally speaking, do not go into debt.
And try to pay off your debt.
Yeah, try to get out of debt. That's why we talk about the budget, right? Stick to the plan. COVID hit. I'm going to max out my credit card. People did it. I saw them do it on the internet. Well, at least they said they did it. Not smart. Don't do that.
Okay, I got to do another side. Now, I did not have to max out my credit card. I didn't use my credit card. You didn't use yours for COVID. Do you know why we didn't use ours? Because
the plan. We had a plan.
We had a plan.
Yeah.
We foresaw not the exact details, but we saw the risk. We had the plan.
And our systems were so balanced that, there were obviously things we had to get, but
yeah, I got a few extra Tyvek and things like that. But it was so balanced that it was a nothing burger as far as our preps. Don't get me wrong. It's quite traumatic to some people. There's no getting around that. But as far as our preps, it was a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we weren't scrambling for anything.
No, not at all. So good planning will eliminate or really mitigate that need for people to rush out and put stuff on the credit card. If you are step by step, incrementally building a broad-based planning system that covers everything from power to medical to food production, food preservation, communications, building a network. Maybe you don't have this great group, but you are incrementally getting to know people.
Yeah, maybe you got one friend. That's fine.
Maybe it's even not even that. Maybe you just walking down and you're just getting to know the neighbors. I'm kind of an introvert, so for me to go out and actually talk with the neighbors it's easier for me to not talk with the neighbors. But I make a point. I will walk up and I see somebody doing some work. I'll jump in and help them out. And I don't know if this is rude to say this, but not one of these neighbors I live near are my best friend or anything. But they know who I am, and they know that I'll be there to help them after a hurricane. I'm out there. You guys got everything? You all right? You need anything? If you need an extra tarp, I got it. Just being out there, being a neighbor, and that goes a long way towards prepping for security and mutual support. So start with those things.
Yeah.
So don't go into debt. If a good system will alleviate the need for that. The final to wrap up. Have fun with this. Prepping is an adventure. You're learning the art of self-reliance. It is fun. It is an adventure. You're learning new skills. Go out in the backpacking. Heck, you, me, and another family member, we went out there a 20-mile hike up and down hills, and it just rained. It was all muddy, and oh my gosh, I had to use 4 hands up every hill and sliding down and walking through little rivers, and we camped that first night. We camped 8 miles in the dark and found a tent site, and it was actually just getting dark as we got there, so we're basically trying to put stuff up in the dark, and we drank our water, had to refill our water. We're right next to an alligator-infested swamp, and so we break out our little pump filters, and
we came across some packs of wild boars.
Oh my gosh, a whole bunch of wild, crazy pigs out there. It was a blast, and we did another 12 miles on the way back, and somebody got exhausted. I won't say who got too exhausted, but I'm not in the shape these young guys are in. But have fun with this. It's not. It doesn't need to be a chore. Some of it's going to be mundane. Yep.
Yeah, there's certain
bought
things.
Me another 2 weeks worth of food. It's kind of hard to have too much fun with that.
And even like recently, trying to study for my hand license. Oh I'm not studying, so trying to understand HF and the different antennas, and it's not my thing. So for me, it is work to sit there and study all the technical aspects of the radio and the frequencies and propagation. I'm not into it. Some people are, right? Versus the tactical stuff, the medical, man, I'm into all that. So it's not work for me. I'd be doing it anyway, you know. So
yeah, and that's just part of that balance, that balance progression. Sometimes you know that it's not going to be fun. I just got my tech license, but it was a lot of work, a lot of practice exams. It's like you, I don't know anything about this, and I'm going to confess, I really don't care. But I do know to be well balanced, I should have alternate communication systems. So yeah, I mean, we got ourselves radios, and got the little bow things. We got us a good HF mobile unit, and
I tested it. Mine works. I got my dipole antenna, and obviously I didn't transmit, but I can hear people from multiple states away, and that part is fun when it works. That part's fun. But
sometimes a little work, but still have a little fun with it. And it is fun playing around and getting signals and all that. So we understand that not everything is going to be joy and bubbles and unicorns, and some of it is necessary to be well-rounded. But don't get yourself in the debt. Don't get stressed out. If you need a break, take a break from prepping. In the sense that, all right, don't add to your food stores for a couple of weeks, a month, or whatever. Take a little break with the understanding you're going to come back. I would say if you're going to take a break, up front, put a time limit on it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to do any prepping for 2 months. Okay, you know what? It's good for the mind. It's good for the soul to do that. You've taken a little break from prepping before. Mm-hmm. I have. And we've talked about, it's about time to get back into it. And sometimes the mind needs a break. So we don't want you to get burned out. This is an important art to learn. It's important because the signs of the times tell us that things are on a downhill trajectory, that destabilization is the norm. We see this. That's why you're watching this video. That's why we're doing this video, because we all see this. And so have fun with it. There's a lot of aspects that are just a blast. It's fun to learn new things. It's fun to do new things. You go camping because you test your skills, test your equipment. Guess what? Sometimes you got to make changes. We got these backpacks. So you guys, I'm sure you guys already saw our get home bag videos. And you're like, oh my gosh, those backpacks are huge. Guess what? We test them.
Yeah, I use them.
Yeah, I mean, we had one of these walks, that 20-mile hike. I show up with this tomahawk. It's a nice tomahawk. I love my tomahawk. These other guys are laughing at me. What are you doing carrying a tomahawk? Guess what?
Too much weight.
I'm not carrying a tomahawk anymore. I mean, I shrunk my bag down. I mean, the video looks pretty big. It's still at 42 pounds. I'd like to shed another 20. But it is what it is, and I can walk with it. I do walk with it, and you walk with yours. And I've actually had to walk a couple of times. Even though Louisiana, ice storm of 2018, I threw my pack on my back and had to walk several miles. Bitter cold. Not because I needed the pack in that case, but I didn't want to leave the pack in the car. But the point is, I easily could walk with it. Did it a number of times. So have fun testing your gear. Have fun if you got kids. Oh, kids are great fun in this stuff. Give them chores, give them assignments. All right, so thanks for watching. We really do appreciate it. We really don't want you to get burned out. We want you to be in this for the long haul. It's good for you. It's good for your family. And the more of us that are prepping, it's easier on the others that are prepping, because we're going to be self-reliant, and it'll be less pressure on the overall civil system if each of us are taking care of ourselves. So if you like this, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, please leave a comment, tell us what you think. If we helped you out, let us know how we helped you out. If there is something that you would like to see, add that in the comment as well. We've got a number of topics coming up, but we've got room for more. And please share with a friend.